On today's video, we're gonna be knee-high in the Lehigh, the 239, to see what the crap is going on with the real estate market here. Home to the best Puerto Rican restaurant on earth. Man, I tell you what, you gotta put two or three. You're not doing it like that. Don't do it like that. What you gotta do, you gotta get him up there. Cause he ain't gonna do that hand like you're supposed to, man. He's scared to get up there, man. You don't do crap, man. You gotta get your some little short Guatemalan dude to climb up there, man. That's the one that really gonna get that palm tree. He gonna fall up that tree. Like, you gotta get good health insurance to be up there like that, man. You do, man. Go climb up that palm tree like that. I mean, whose idea was it to put a gated community in Lehigh? It's like, I live in Lehigh Acres, it's fancy. We're going in to see some papers. What's up, buddy? Yeah, buddy. Bro, they got a scooter toter down there. I tell you what, that Lehigh and the pay high down there. Hi. What happened? Oh, no.
He literally had a drive-through.
Oh, Papa, you crazy. Shout out to all my Zoes in the 239. That's how you end up with like missing jewelry and stuff. Hire some Zoes to clean your house. That's how we're doing in Fort Myers. You start a legitimate business so you can hit that lick. What type of community is this where you need a no dumping sign behind a Dollar General? It's pretty sad when you can't keep a dang Hungry Howie's open in Lehigh Acres. And how bad are things in Lehigh when you can't keep a dang Hungry Howie's open out there, man?
I hear this guy right here was actually selling dope, man. So,
what? Yeah. For real? Out of the Hungry Howie's?
Out of the Hungry Howie's.
No way. Was that on the news for something?
It was the manager guy.
Oh, the manager?
Yeah.
Dang, man.
Yeah.
That's pretty sad. I mean, I live in Lakewood Ranch in Branson. They closed down our Hungry Howie's.
What's the channel?
Southern Life, bro.
Southern Life?
Southern Life, man.
Southern Life?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Lehigh is pretty rough, man.
Yeah.
This is actually called the Bermuda Triangle of Death.
Yeah, the triangle.
Yeah, you know about it?
Yeah.
You heard about it?
Yeah, the triangle.
Yeah, that's it, man. All became a bunch of section out. It's like Section 8 housing all down to here.
Yeah.
Going all the way up over to Buckingham.
Yeah, I used to live off of Buckingham a few years back.
Okay.
It's nice down that way, but when you get back into the triangle, it's a crap wall up here. Yeah. And they just keep building houses and houses. Like, who's buying these houses right now? Like, nobody's buying them. Yeah, no. It's got to be money laundry or something, because like, who would?
No, it's what they do is they artificially, stimulate the real estate and do all that.
Yeah.
I mean, the government, it looks really good because the houses are getting filled, but it's Section 8 housing.
Yeah.
It's the government paying for the housing that's making everybody think that there's like a big real estate boom happening.
There ain't.
There ain't.
Though. You can't even keep when I lived in Lehigh, I used to have to commute to Naples for work.
Yeah.
And then gas got up to $5 a gallon.
Yeah.
I was spending $80 in gas on my truck to go to Naples for work.
Oh, yeah, man. You know what, dude? I actually had to move down to Naples Port whenever I was doing hurricane shutters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't afford the gas back and forth. I was making about $250 at the end of the week after bills and everything.
That's insane, dude.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
You can't live on
And then when I was living over here, rents, they've come down a little bit, but like when I was living over here, people were like $2,400 for a house.
Yeah, dude, we've got 4 people sharing one spot.
Yeah.
It's bitch, man.
It's rough out here.
Tough. Yeah.
It is, man.
It is.
At least you got some good Cuban food.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, bro. Have fun, man. Yep. But that's the situation. The Hungry Howie's is closed down. And the same thing happened to our Hungry Howie's in Lakewood Ranch. So I guess this idea of drive-through pizza places just ain't working out here. Says this location is close, but will be reopening soon. I just hope they weren't slinging rocks out of our dang Hungry Howie's in Lakewood Ranch. That's the difference between Lehigh and Lakewood Ranch, man. These folks ain't right. This is the infamous Leonard. This high cost of living, low-paying jobs because of no industries has led many people here in Lehigh Acres to end up homeless on the streets. So this is a family out of Lehigh Acres who recently saw themselves in a situation where they thought they were going to be homeless. Now, a local wannabe news center reported a triple homicide. Well, it turns out that it wasn't a triple homicide because the victims all survived, and it turns out that it was self-inflicted. Despite Americans facing homelessness at unprecedented levels in the state of Florida, housing availability here and inventory is at one of the highest levels it's ever been. This one's got a Fort Lauderdale number, and this one's got a Miami number. Perhaps one of the biggest absurdities about life in the United States is the fact that despite the fact that there is now more housing available than ever, and even after deportations, it almost seems like people in the United States would rather see other Americans be homeless. Some of the scenes here in Lehigh Acres look like something out of this world. Abandoned cars, abandoned houses. It almost seems like a war zone in what's known as the Death Triangle of Lehigh Acres. The massive population growth of this area was pitched to many people as New Yorkers moved into Florida, but in reality, most people that were living here were actually Hispanics fleeing the high cost of living in Miami and other large cities. Sites like this are now common in Lehigh Acres, Florida. These abandoned properties quickly become eyesores. This is sadly what much of Lehigh Acres looks like today. What was once beautiful empty lots today are just places where the garbage overflows. See a lot of mattresses out by the road. People are leaving. Of course, the high cost of housing also means that people have to put campers in their backyards and create informal rental situations. This is the infamous triangle of Lehigh Acres. Overgrown and abandoned properties like this are all over Lehigh Acres, Florida. But as the wind hits you, you can smell the herb burning. Standing right here in one spot, you can see that this one's for sale. Right next door to it is a duplex, and it's for sale. And then right next door to that is another duplex being built. So that is practically 3 properties next to each other that are vacant. 2 houses down is a for rent sign, and then across the street from that is another for rent sign. The vacancy rate in some of these neighborhoods appears to be about 50%. That one right there is for sale. Right now we're on Leonard. You can see that this house right here is for rent. It's a duplex. Both sides appear to be empty. The one next door to it looks abandoned. It's a duplex. It says for sale by owner. This duplex here looks empty and overgrown, but it doesn't have a sign. Right here you have a giant for rent sign, the biggest for rent sign I've ever seen. I want to give you guys this view so you guys can understand that I'm not exaggerating when you're driving through here. You can see a for rent sign up on the grass there in front of this one. They have the same house has 2 for rent signs, so both of those units are empty. This person says in Spanish they're looking for empty lots, and then there's a for rent sign on this house right here. Okay, so you go 1 block over, and the next house on the next block on the corner is also for rent. That is 2 houses on 2 adjacent blocks that are for rent. This house is overgrown, but they're working on it. The one across the street looks overgrown. Maybe somebody's living here, but they're certainly not taking care of it. This one here's got like a garbage pile in the front. There's a new house going in right here. And then directly across the street from that are 3 new houses in a row, 2 or 3 new houses in a row being built. Over there you can see the guy's got some pigeons back there. Ese tipo tiene unos cascos ahí con salmonela lleno de casco así. Most of those guys are going to be Cubans, so it's like a hobby where they breed pigeons. There's different pigeons. Now I'm going to guess by the fact he's got boxes on top that those are going to be what are known as buchonas, which are Cuban theft powders. And it's a bird that flies around looking for other pigeons to seduce. And the more pigeons it brings home, each pigeon it brings home is like a trophy. So it's like a hobby that people do here in Florida. Notice how all of these construction sites have to have cameras. So this street right here kind of perfectly illustrates what's going on in Lehigh Acres. Basically, endless construction in all directions, despite the fact that all you have to do is go to the next street over and there's for rent signs everywhere. Oye, casquero! Uh-oh, papa. That's the one thing about Haitians. They will use an Uber. Why get deported when it's not your time to leave yet? It varies from nationality. Like, there's a lot of Haitians here on temporary status, just like Cubans and Venezuelans. But you're not going to catch a Haitian getting arrested without a valid driver's license. Haitian people use Uber all the time. Ghost houses. Does somebody live there? Most likely not. All right, guys. So there's a new house going in at the end of the street, but look what they got next door, dude. Just on this street, there's two houses where people are collecting scrap metal. Could you imagine, with what life costs these days, to make a living collecting scrap metal? We're kind of in the vicinity of Sunshine and Leonard, almost to the end of the triangle. And here you can see that they brought in the materials, they built up the lot, but then everything came to a freeze. And well, it's questionable whether these materials are good anymore. So we're heading on Sunshine now. This is the edge of the triangle. Like every little bit, you'll see somebody like selling vegetables on the side of the road. You can just see the necessity that people have out here. I mean, like people are selling avocados, and like this person's here selling avocados. And what's crazy is that this isn't the only person selling avocados in this stretch of road. Like there's literally somebody else less than a mile away doing the same thing. You know, on the western side by the triangle where we were earlier, that's an area of a lot of rental properties. So there you have vacancy. So up in this side over here, like that's a for rent sign right there, but you see a lot less of it. Like this one's for rent, but it's just less common, right? Because most people over here are going to be homeowners because it's so far from anything that it wouldn't be logical for a person to rent, especially with so many empty lots. They could just build more rentals. So, and now you're adding to that mix with the fact that they're building apartments really close to Fort Myers. So it doesn't make sense for there to be a lot of rentals out here. You have more home ownership down this way. Now, the lack of infrastructure out here is astonishing. I mean, there's mostly it's just secondary roads. Like you put on the GPS and you end up on some back roads like this, driving through residential neighborhoods. There really aren't that many roads. It's weird. Now, somehow, again, the bizarre thing is how new home construction hasn't ceased out here. Now, the person that we interviewed at the start of the video mentioned something about Section 8. I'm going to respectfully disagree with that. I know a lot of people that live here in Lehigh Acres. I mean, a lot. And I can't think of a single one of them that's on Section 8. And I've lived here in Lehigh Acres. So I don't know where people get that notion from. I'm just going to, respectfully disagree. I think the real problem here is just a whole different issue. And again, if that is a thing out here, it certainly isn't a thing among the people that I know out here. Este tipo es un casquero también, hacer. Bueno, mucha gente cree que para ser un casquero hay que tener paloma, pero hay gente que aunque no tengan paloma, son casquero natural. You're in America, speak English. Let me tell you, there's some things that just can't be translated into English. You would need like a school first. How do you explain that in English? Does somebody in the comment section that knows Spanish wants to try to translate that? You couldn't understand it. It's just you couldn't yunk to if you yunk to you yunk to. You couldn't yunk to if you yunk to you hunt to. What an eyesore. Like here's a little a for rent sign, yeah, buddy. But here's a little stretch that hasn't been too heavily developed, and you can kind of see like that at some point it wasn't ugly. Because that's the other thing about Lehigh. It's like, I understand you're going to develop the place, but make it look pretty, man. Like, no, it's like, it's the ugliest. It's like almost as ugly as Austin, Texas. Like, that's how bad things are here. And way over here by Milwaukee, for some reason, they're building gated communities. And my question is, why the crap would you want to live in a gated community out here? If you want to live in a gated community, like, go to Fort Myers or Naples. Out here? You want to live in a subdivision out here. Kind of like the notion of getting out here to begin with is getting away from people and rules and stuff. But then you got like HOAs popping up out here, which is kind of like, wait, you want to live in a gated community here? So now, single family homes as far as the eye can see, right? So at some point they came in and they built this shopping plaza out here, right? Well, guess what? It's all empty. I think there's like one or two government offices here, and then everything else has remained empty. So there's a Lee County tax collector out here. Lee County Elections is out here. When they do build little business fronts like this, they remain vacant. This has been here for years now, and there's no businesses here. So not only is it a food desert, but even if somebody were to build business out here, it wouldn't succeed. Like this here just should give you an idea that there's nothing but single family homes. Then there's this thing here, all of which is now government plazas because this little area here has a lot of homeless people. You can see there's a porta potty. So a while back, I made a video outside of this health department office showing that homeless people were defecating outside the health department. So now they set up porta potties and a hand washing station here. And we were here doing a story about a hot dog stand. The guy had a hot dog stand here, and they. But imagine that you have a food desert, and then when there is commercial real estate available, there aren't businesses to fill that void. And if somebody does open a business, then they get shot. All right, guys, so now we are in the eastern tip of Lehigh Acres. Directly in front of it, you have a new construction going in. Notice how it's got a septic drain field because they don't have city sewage. Guys, look at all these houses going in the absolute middle of nowhere. As we're in the absolute middle of nowhere. The intersection here is Clamwood, if you want to look it up. Clemwood, Clamwood. We're at the intersection of Brazos, Brazos, Brazos and Clamwood. This is like the absolute middle of nowhere. And look at how many new houses are going in out here. And there's rent signs everywhere. So nobody's going to buy these houses or rent them or anything. Like, dude, you're in the absolute middle of nowhere. This far out, who is going to buy, rent, lease any of these houses? It's bizarre. Look, guys, this one right here is for rent. And then you don't even have streetlights out here where you need them. Like, you just have like four-way stops at pretty busy intersections. So the lack of infrastructure out here is defined. Most of Lehigh today looks as unsightly as this guy's hood. And we're starting to see stories on the news that reflect the desperation of people in these times that people are in. People feel like they can't manage their economy. You know, they can't make enough money. They can't find jobs that pay enough. Increasing rent prices. It's understandable. It's almost understandable why people feel that way. But you should never let these situations overwhelm you. When you see that people are having to sell vegetables on the side of the road, you know, that's the type of thing you'd expect to see like in a third world country or, you know, a very, you know, I don't even like that term. Maybe underdeveloped country, you know, might sound better. That term sounds ignorant, you know. Maybe in an underdeveloped country, it would be a normal thing for somebody to sell fruits and vegetables by the side of the road. But, you know, in the United States, in the United States in the year 2026, you know, you got people selling vegetables on the side of the road. Yeah, you got, look, that's abandoned right there. That one's abandoned. That one's abandoned. Look at this mess. You're driving through here and you're seeing so many abandoned construction sites, so many for sale signs, so many for rent signs. Clearly something isn't working out here, and I don't know what it is. I really don't. Something isn't adding up. And now imagine on this street with so many abandoned construction sites, and here on the left, they're delivering materials to start another new home, which it looks like it's going to be another duplex. And here's another one going in. right? So it's so bizarre. That one's going to be a duplex as well. Then, you get off the main road, you get into these back streets out here in the middle of nowhere, and check out the intersection where we're at. You can even look this up on Google Maps. We're in the absolute middle of nowhere in Lehigh Acres, yet here you have a house that they started and it looks like maybe they abandoned it. Right up there is another one that looks like it's been so empty for so long that the sign's gone. And then on the other street, there's another abandoned construction site. It's just bizarre what's happening here in Lehigh Acres. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, I saw stuff like this here in Lehigh Acres during the last recession, 2007, 2008. This is what you had here in Lehigh Acres. But back then, we knew we were in a recession and we knew things were bad. But what's strange about the situation now is that despite the fact you see stuff like this, it doesn't seem like there's a recognition of the reality of the economical situation we're in right now. You go one block over, and then here's the next unfinished house that doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. As you look at all this, you have to wonder, how bad is the economy really right now in the United States? And why are stories like this not mainstream media? Why isn't this a story? Katie, can you play Missy Elliott, Get Your Freak Horn?
Oh, that's not what you think it is.
It's a song about, I remember I was in like middle school, there's a song about freak horn from Missy Elliott, like, get some freak horn, get some freak horn. It's never ending. I could literally be out here all day showing you guys the mess that's happening here. And here's a house being built, here's a house being built, and then next to that's another house being built. We're not in Detroit, Michigan. We're outside of Fort Myers, Florida. Take a look at this mess. This house is abandoned. There's garbage and litter out front. What is this? All right, guys, let's take in this scenery at this corner of Lehigh Acres. So here you got somebody living in a camper in somebody's backyard, and you can hear dogs barking from inside the camper. All this is at one intersection of Lehigh Acres. So here's a new house that's just been built, and there is somebody living there because the garbage can's out. Beyond that is a for sale sign. This one here is abandoned. It literally looks like they just stopped mid-construction. I mean, I don't even know how to describe this one. They have an area for the garbage, right, for the construction site, but people came and they dumped tile and car tires in it. So none of this is from this construction site. This is somebody who dumped garbage here. Look, there's a Goya saltine cracker box. So there's diapers right there. Look, there's diapers. Look, all of the diapers. So look, there's diapers and Goya, tires. This is not from a construction site. So somebody came here and dumped all this garbage in this dumpster, right? Which has nothing to do with the house behind it. So here's the house that was being built. And I don't know if the hurricane did this, who knows what, right? Soak this in. Like bask in it, okay? Engulf yourself into this scenery, okay? Then you have, I guess people have been dumping couches here as well because, well, it's already a mess, so keep adding to it. Wow. Dude, like, this is one intersection here in Lehigh. Look at this mess. And then you got these two houses over here. This looks like something you'd see in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Lehigh, Baton Rouge, Louisiana Acres. What is going on here? Obviously, the circumstances in general or context of the economy now is very different from back then. But there are some similarities. Recessions usually happen when you have Republicans in power, and I don't know why that's the case. I really don't. But the last recessions that we've had, like many of them in a row, seems to be the case. The last time we did a video in this area, you guys may recall that we ended up with Somebody going about 90 miles per hour down this road. Now, I don't know what this accident's about. What a mess. Now people are starting to drive over the grass to get out. This is crazy. Nowhere else in America would you see this. Let me just show you guys what's going on here. Where else in America would you see so much lawlessness? So clearly, you have your scene over there. So the traffic is just driving on the grass. Like people are just literally driving on the grass to drive around this scene here. Nowhere else in America would you see this kind of lawlessness where people just make their own roads. In the United States, when there's an accident, people just drive around the area as a whole. But here in Lehigh Acres, it's kind of lawless. I mean, you can see here how cars are just driving on the grass to get around the scene here. Would you see a car crash and then people do stuff like this? Driving on the grass, driving, look at this truck flying through this field. The level of lawlessness that exists out here, it's insane. You just got people like driving on the grass. It's crazy what's happening here. People here, and they're speeding, a lot of them. It's crazy. Like this truck here, lawless, completely lawless. I mean, what a mess. What a mess. Look at the guy with the dump truck boxing in the fire truck. Look at that, he almost hit the fire truck. Look at this, guys. What an absolute disaster of a scenario here. People have no respect or regard for law and order, nothing. Everybody's just kind of it's like a free-for-all. It's bizarre how lawless this scene is. Now, they do have their own Lehigh Acres Fire and Rescue. Look at this guy. He's just driving on the grass. Look at this. Where else in America are people this lawless? I mean, people just, look at it. It's like, what on earth? Nowhere else in America would people be this freaking lawless. This is insane. This is wild. People are just making their own roads. I mean, it's practical. I get the practicality of just doing whatever the crap you want, but it is bizarre nonetheless because, but then there's no other roads. That's the thing about Lehigh Acres. Like there's not a lot of infrastructure. So when something does happen, I guess people just have to improvise their way through. I can guarantee you nowhere else in America will you see something like this. This is just a unique to Lehigh Acres thing. People here do whatever they can. Now, there's not a lot of traffic. Okay, like there's not a whole lot of traffic out here, but you have accidents like this because people are desperate, they're road raging, people are angry. So you have a scenario here in Lehigh Acres where, despite the fact there's not a lot of traffic, I'm just amazed that people have just created their own road. I've never seen anything like this anywhere in America. Now you got to ask yourself, what necessity is there for a car accident at 5 in the afternoon? There's not a lot of traffic out here. This isn't congested. Last time I was on this road, we did a video. We got video. We got video of somebody going 90 miles an hour on this road. It isn't that there's a lot of traffic and congestion. It's that there's a lack of infrastructure. So now you got to combine the lack of infrastructure that exists out here with the temperament of people who have extraordinarily long commutes, and it creates scenarios like this. That black car went that way, now it's going this way. So I don't know what's going on here, but this is just a chaotic scene, you could say. This is a very crazy and chaotic scene, and I'm sure the paramedics in other places get a little bit more respect and space than they do here. Finally, a police officer shows up. As a general thing here in the United States, you know, people, if there is an accident, they don't do that. It isn't just a custom of people, it's the law. New York City commutes, Alabama salaries, and California cost of living, people are on edge. People are angry, they're frustrated, they cannot see past their own frustrations and anxieties of everyday life. There's a little Cuban store right there, man. This is a good one for a quick bite right here. This place is great.